Hello, here's a story about 2 RV parks. So I just thought I would share because it's still coming up, and I can't believe it's still coming up. And I can't believe that people are still harassing people over something that was 9 years ago and it's too late to do anything about. But I'm just going to clear up any misinformation. So what I heard when I moved here was there was a guy on the board. His name was Lynn, and he built an illegal RV park. He got on the board, tried to illegally get his friends on the board, and he smoozed people to build this illegal RV park. What I found out when I did some research is that wasn't true at all. They actually bought that park at the end of 2017 and established that park, and then it was operating in January 2018. So they moved here from somewhere else. He was not on the board. As a matter of fact, like I said, statute of limitations for him would have ended in 2021. He was not on the board until 2022. He was not even on the board during the whole 4-year statute of limitations. Like literally, they ran that business for 4 years before he joined the board. So y'all need to stop repeating that. It's not true. And you can look it up. As a matter of fact, you can look on Bandera CAD or their website. I'll link their website. I'll link both parks' websites. And I'll link a copy that I finally got, an official copy of who was on the board. So I had asked people questions back when I was originally looking into this because I heard these rumors. But I didn't have any documentation of who was on the board. But now I have lots of documentation because I got something direct from the Homeowners Association. Plus, I went down and bought copies of the lawsuits. And it mentions everybody who was on the board. So I have proof of that now. And eventually, I will probably scan those documents if I can. They're really thick, and post them, but I have them. When I'm done reading them, I'll probably drop them off at the office in case anybody else wants to borrow it. Like, I have no need to keep them. But I thought there might be pertinent information. I'm about halfway through, and the only thing that I find that's pertinent is one thing. And I haven't finished, so maybe it's contradicted later. If anybody contradicts it, I will update this video and I will post it on the top. So people will know that that wasn't necessarily a fact. But when I was a realtor, if anything was put into the paperwork, shared with the other party and not disputed, it was considered a legal fact. This was in California. We're in Texas now. I don't know if that applies here, but I think it probably does. So in 2018, both parks were built. I think the rumor got started with the current board member because the previous board member, Derek Manchester, he was on the board while building an RV park. But I will tell you, and again, I'm not through with these court documents, it does say in them that only one person was doing the architectural approvals at that time. Now, we're supposed to have 3 people, 3 volunteers, because, I mean, that's fair. So you have a vote. So you don't just have one person being like, nah, I don't like that. You have 2 against 1, and the majority is going to win to see what gets approved and what gets denied. But if you don't have any volunteers, you can't let those sit. Like in real estate and everything, time is of the essence. You have to answer those people. Like if I'm trying to build a house and I send in my architectural review, you can't hold me up for a year because you don't have volunteers. Somebody has to take the responsibility of that. And the court documents say that a previous board member, Steve Travers, did, which has nothing to do with either RV park, as far as I've ever heard. So it just proves, at least I believe it does, I'll let you know for sure when I finish the document, that the Manchesters had nothing to do with what got approved and what didn't. And so any of us can submit anything for approval. You don't lose any rights just because you're on the board. You can submit your plans, get it approved, and carry on, build your house, your fence, your garage, whatever. So 2 RV parks, both of them way past the statute of limitations. And the attorney basically said, this is how you establish the statute of limitations. There are 3 ways, and I'm going to go from what has the less weight to the most weight. That's what he did. So the least weight was if they have a piece of paper, like, okay, I don't know, a business license for it, or, you know, whatever that particular situation would apply. If you had some kind of approval in a sheet of paper documentation, you can hand the judge. That's one way. But there's also the way of when a normal person would have discovered it. So if you built an RV park like way back on some dead-end road here and nobody found you for 4 years, your statute of limitations doesn't start until you were discovered. So he asked me about where the location of these parks were, and they're both right on the road to Pecan Bottom, and they're on the road with other board members, and like it's a high traffic street. There's no way the other board members didn't know. And there's lots of proof that everyone did know. Like there's so much proof in the court documents, on Facebook. Like everybody knew these RV parks existed, and people were grumbling about it, but nobody did anything about it. But let's just say hypothetically they did. Well, actually, let me finish. The third way, the most weightiest way that a judge is going to determine the start date for statute of limitations, and he said this would take precedence, was the date of advertisement. Because first off, if you build out in public, you know, everybody's aware, but if you advertise it and it's like general public knowledge, then that carries the most weight with the judge, and that's normally when a judge would decide to start the statute of limitations. So I try to go back and find like when were either one of these parks advertised. Boulder Dash was a lot easier because they're on a lot more of the RV camping sites that I'm RVer that I'm familiar with, and so it was easier for me to look them up. Medina River RV Park was harder. I think that they do less advertising and they do more like referral maybe, or maybe it's just I'm not on the sites they advertise, I'm not sure. But Boulder Dash, I could find advertisements going back as far as January 2018. Like they were very public. They posted it even on their Facebook and their Boulder Dash Facebook and, you know, everywhere. So you could see like if they put in a post, they took pictures of it. Like they documented the whole process. So with Boulder Dash, it's very, very easy to establish the beginning of statute of limitations. So it was January 2018, so 18, 19, 20, 21. Their statute of limitations would have ended December 2021. Lynn did not even get on the board until 2022. And I forget what month. I'll post that in the comments. I hesitate on that because it took me a while to get documentation, because I asked people and people tell me that, you know, that's not proof. So I finally did get something, Lake Medina Shores. They were able to find the documentation, but not only that, now I have the court records, and it's all through the court records. Like there's so much documentation of who was on the board and when. It like literally lists it out. Like at this meeting, this happened, at this meeting, that happened. So we know for sure who was on the board. Lynn was not on the board till 2022. He was already past his statute of limitations. And Manchester, they built Medina River sometime in 2018 because, I mean, you can see it in the tax records. They purchased it October 2017, I believe, and then sometime in 2018, but it doesn't tell you the month. They put in the pedestals, and it doesn't tell you when they rented their first spot. But I'm sure Manchester has that. And you know what? It's not important because we're past the statute of limitations anyways. But, so, we're well past the 4-year statute of limitations for either park. But this is the way that the law looks at it. The people who built the park and spent their money and did it, they are considered the injured parties. So unless someone can prove wrongdoing or they built it without permission, for example, they started building it. Oh, look, we see it being built. So we send them a letter, halt your building and stop it right now. If that's not done immediately, there's no strict law. It's a, I forget how it's worded, within a reasonable time. And I know that's subject to interpretation, but normally, I've been to court a handful of times. I'm a realtor. We generally go to court like every 5 years or so. So, normally, in my experience, a reasonable amount of time was usually 30 days. That's what, in my case, is what the judge decided. I don't know how it would go here. But whatever the judge deemed a reasonable amount of time, maybe you could have stopped it within 90 days or whatever. Maybe you wouldn't have owed them damages. But if it was not stopped immediately on discovery and they weren't sent a letter to halt, then had you sued even during that 4-year statute of limitations, they are entitled to damages. So they would be entitled to every penny that they spent on the improvements, plus they would be entitled for the cost of removing the improvements, plus, and I'm going to just speak to Boulder Dash specific on this one because I think it's a little bit more clear cut because he was not on the board. The other one could go different, but for sure in the case of the Boulder Dash RV park, they would have been entitled to so much in damages because that was their retirement income. So if they had bought it to fund their retirement and they were going to retire in 10 years, like, they're entitled to that money back that they lost because they were lied to. They're entitled every penny they put in, every penny to pull things back out. And they could say, look, we don't even want the property then, and you have to pay them every penny that they put in, plus whatever, okay, in one lawsuit, and this one got settled, but I represented them. Not only that, like, there was appreciation of the market during the time this was going on. So the buyer was also entitled to that loss of appreciation. They were entitled to interest. RV parks would be entitled to interest on the money that they put in that they could have been earning interest on. And in the case of Boulder Dash, okay, they bought it for the specific purpose of it being a camping spot. So this is just random numbers off the top of my head, but if it's worth, I don't know, $700,000 as an RV park, but only $400,000 as a house, they could be entitled to the difference because now you've lowered the value of what they own, and through no fault of their own, they believed it was approved and accepted. So basically, we're way past that situation. I'm not sure why everybody is upset with me that I'm not upset with the RV park. Like, I wasn't even here. Like, if you guys were so upset, then why didn't you stop it? Like, it's 9 years later. We could really move on if we wanted. And both the RV parks, according to every bit of documentation, now, I know for sure about this on Boulder Dash. Maybe somebody could find something on the other one in the minutes or something. I'm looking through the lawsuit. I'm not finding anything. And if I do, you know I'm going to post it. But I think they're both 100% legal, way past the date of doing anything about it. And I don't know why anybody would even care, first off. I mean, look at our neighborhood. These are two nice RV parks. I never hear about, oh, the police are at the RV park again. Oh, they're dealing drugs at the RV park. Oh, another party kept me up all night at the RV park. I never hear anything like that from either park. And even Carol Ann will tell you, like, they're both roughly about 2 acres. And I'll add this too, like, and I don't remember the exacts now, but they're both about 2 acres. With Boulder Dash, it's like a string of lots. You know how that goes, like lot, I don't know, you own lot 200, 201, 202, 203. I think they own like 6 or 7 lots, and they have like 6 or 7 spots. And the other park is like 1 lot number, about the same size. And I think they have like roughly 16. Again, I looked up this stuff a little while ago, and my memory's not perfect, but you can easily, I will link it so you can easily pull it up yourself. So 2 RV parks, both discovered in 2018, both way past the situation where anyone can do anything about it. Both of them, you never hear a complaint, but it's all people want to keep bringing up. And I don't know why. You just want to have something to grumble about because, I mean, what would you get from it anyways? Even, what would you do? Oh, Judge, like, I'm so damaged. I live in a trashy neighborhood, and I drove by 2 really nice RV parks today, and I can't get over it. So, I mean, you would get nothing. You could try to force them to close their business, but you would have to come up with the money to buy them out. And it's too late to do that. You're 5 years too late. You should have done it 6 years ago. You could have had a chance. And, I mean, who are these RV people that everybody hates so much? I mean, of all the things we have to worry about, how about the first RV park? I don't know. I hear, well, first off, he's a pastor or a deacon at the church, and she's the Sunday school teacher. They're always at the volunteer staff. I hear in the neighborhood that they're like such great people. Like, even their kids help the neighbors. They help people mow their grass. Like, I mean, I can see why everybody is so upset with them, right? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And then Boulder Dash, I mean, they're horrible people. All they do is constantly volunteer for the, I don't know, the fire department. Let's throw a party for the kids for Halloween. How about for Christmas? Let's do rock around the dock. Let's collect cans and save them up and crush them and take them just so we can have a party for the kids. Let's just pick up trash every week. Let's just, do all the good things we can do while people keep hating us. I mean, why are you guys so mean to these RV park owners? And what makes you think they did anything illegal with absolutely no proof? And if you have proof, why the heck didn't you do something with that proof while you could? Why did you do nothing? And if you did nothing, why do you think you have a right to still complain about it? How about we just leave people alone? And I know what gets to me is the people who always say, well, people out here want to just be left alone. Well, yeah, practice what you preach. Leave people alone when they didn't do anything wrong. Now, if you have proof that somebody did something wrong, stand up. If you have proof that somebody's telling a lie, stand up. But just to make up your mind without any evidence because you're friends with so-and-so or you're friends with so-and-so, it's ridiculous. We need to, and I'm going to add this in too because I know I'm annoying. I put a lot of comments out there. And I just want everybody to know, like, it is nothing personal. Most of the time, I don't even look to see who I'm responding to. And that's the truth. Like, if I met you, I'm not going to remember any conversation we ever had because I'm just operating from a place of principle, and it doesn't matter who says it. If I think it's wrong or I think it's not good information, especially if I think somebody's lying about somebody else, and because I'm a Christian, we are supposed to do that. We are supposed to stand up for what's right, be all about justice and righteousness and fairness, and we're not supposed to treat one person any different than we treat another person. And so we could all learn from that, So with me, it's nothing personal. If we decided today, and we could, to just basically call a truce and start working together, like, I think we could accomplish so much, but we need to put the past to bed, and it's not relevant. It's not relevant. No one can do anything about it. And honestly, I don't see why people think it's so horrible. It's two nice RV parks. Why is so many people upset? And if you lived here then and you're upset, why did you do nothing about it?